And welcome to an exciting episode of Two Bar Connections with your host Jesse and
James. What's going on, everybody?
What's going on indeed? So for today's episode, we have a story with Subnautica 2. There's been a huge fiasco going on with leadership as there's been some tension between the old leadership of Unknown Worlds and their owners Krafton. Apparently there has been an ousting of Unknown Worlds, which has led to quite the fiasco. We also have yet another games as a service game that is now dead in the water with Steel Hunters officially being dead. And we also have a prominent modder within the Steam community deleting their account after 20 years and posting an anti-Steam manifesto. We also have some updates on Microsoft after the terrible layoffs that we covered last episode. And then finally, we have some concerning news concerning Battlefield. Subnautica actually had a huge expose on what's been going on behind the scenes of that game. But before we get into all that, how have you been?
Too bad, bro. Well, I mean, as you know, we've I don't know how you did it, but you got me back on the Marvel Rivals train, and but I've been having a really good time with it. As you know, I tried Ultron, who to me is new. I know he's been there for a bit. But he's been great. He's actually my new main. I like him a lot.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Yes. And you're right. He's essentially DPS that can put a Zenyatta orb, as you say.
Yeah, pretty much. It's an AoE Zenyatta orb.
Yeah. But I've been having a good time with that. I also got back on Fortnite because I felt bad because Aileen saw me playing Marvel Rivals. Because I don't know if I went into it in the podcast, but the both games are making me upset.
Oh, really?
So yeah, they were, bro, like legit molding, you know. And I want to play games to have fun with my friends, not to get pissed. And I felt bad, and you know, it's funny because we were playing also with our friend Paul, and one of his friends was having issues with the lag, and the reaction he was having reminded me a lot of what I was going through. So I was like, yeah, I got to be careful not to get to that point again. But to be fair to him, like, lag sucks.
Yeah, no, he was apparently well, like freezing for seconds at a time.
Yeah, I was gonna say like game freezes, not just lag. But that's pretty much it. Doing my chemistry class and going to work. And what about you? How have you been doing?
I mean, kind of like you. I haven't really played much. I just did Marvel Rivals, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Really, I played nothing else, to be honest.
Really? There were no demos that you tried out or anything like that?
Nothing.
Damn.
Nothing.
Okay.
I haven't played much of anything in the past few weeks. I mean, it's only been about, 10 days since we last recorded, so...
Oh, yeah. Yes, it's true. Yeah, we haven't played much, but what we did play, we've been hammering it nonstop. We've actually been climbing in ranked.
Which that god-awful rank system, which... Let me just say, this game needs placement matches so fucking bad, dude. Oh my god, dude. I didn't permission to play during Season 2 because I didn't like the changes they made to the ranking, to the point system for the rank. They pretty much made it stat-based now, pretty much. So... it heavily favors DPS players and like doesn't really favor tank players all that much, which
support.
Well, no, because you can pad your stats out with healing, but it definitely does favor more killing and stuff, more like killing and damage. Mm-hmm. So I was like, man, I'm not gonna play this shit. And then they fucked up my boy Thor. They made him like so super fucking boring, and then they also took out like his survivability. So like, I'm like, well, what reason do I have to play? Like, I didn't even get to play Emma Frost when she came out because I'm like, everyone's gonna be fucking playing her. So luckily, like with this new season, when I started playing Emma Frost, I'm like, oh, okay, she's actually really fun. All right, so that actually gave me a reason to like come back in and keep playing. Aside, from me getting skins and stuff, because I was a little behind on the skins for Season 2. There was only 2 I really wanted from the Battle Pass, and that was just the Magic skin and the Psylocke skin, and it was their cool like original X-Men outfits that they had on. It looks great. So I was able to get both of them before the season was up.
Cool, man.
And
very nice.
Yeah, I mean that's been pretty much it. Like just Rivals, playing Emma Frost. Really enjoying the game so far.
Yeah,
it's nice when you take a break.
Yeah.
It just sucks because of the rank system. Like I said, you take a break off a season, and because of the way it works, you get demoted. So I went from Diamond 5, right? I was like Diamond 4 or 5, like in season 1, I think. I didn't play at all during season 2. So from rank 1, from season 1, I went from Diamond all the way down to like Gold. And then I didn't play at all during the season 2, so now I went from Gold all the way down to Diamond. to Bronze. Yeah. So now I'm playing like the bottom with barrel of the player base. Oh my god, these people!
We're playing with the bottom.
I swear to God, I don't even know if they play their monitors on. I don't know if people play with their monitors on. I don't know if they even have hands to operate their keyboards. I don't even know if they have keyboards.
And they got balls, man, because they're like, oh, this is why you're stuck in bronze. I'm like, motherfucker, you're here with me. Shut your mouth. God, I can't.
You are just stuck with the most bottom feeding gastropods you can possibly think of. Just down the Mariana Trench of skill floor.
Oh, yeah, but it hasn't been too bad. Despite it all, it's been a better experience than I remember, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah, well, if you play with friends, it's not so bad, right? Because you can always, work together, and you play against other people who are like probably bronze and probably silver, but you're also probably playing people who are like platinum or something before that season, which is probably what I probably would have gone to diamond. I would have gone back to diamond if I kept playing the game, but I didn't play the game because I didn't like the changes they were making or so. So I just didn't play.
Yeah.
Also, Overwatch was kind of lit, so I just played Overwatch a lot.
That's yeah.
The season 16 was pretty lit. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was saying I never went back to Overwatch. I only played with you that one time.
Yeah,
when they
that's when I played a little bit more after that, and it was still pretty fun. And they actually updated it now. Now they added Sigma, Junkrat, and Zenyatta into Stadium.
Cool.
And every season or so, I think they're going to be adding like 3 heroes. I think next season they're adding Winston, Brigitte. I don't remember who's on damage, but someone on damage. But hey, they added Winston, Brigitte. Like that's perfect for me because like those are Brigitte is like one of my favorite supports, my second favorite support, and then Winston's like one of my second favorite tank or third favorite tank to play. Yeah, so it's perfect for me.
Nice, very cool. And then nothing else for you guys. Sorry, it's been pretty boring the past 10.
Yeah.
In terms of content.
Yeah, not really a whole lot's going on. Hold on. Did I? Oh, my Steam Deck's not. There we go. What the fuck, Steam Deck? There we go. Thank you. Yeah,
my Stream Deck.
Stream Deck, sorry. Stream Deck was not. I'm pressing the Google button here. It's like going to Google. Now it's on Google. Now it's back on OBS.
It's on
okay.
Cool. Awesome.
All right, perfect. So, how do we get into some news?
Yeah, let's get into some news, my man. Let me know what's going on in the gaming world.
All right, so this one's a bit of a doozy. So there's been a whole episode going on, or many episodes going on with the Subnautica leadership, and it's been developing over the span of a week. And well, apparently, this started off on July 2nd, where Unknown Worlds leadership, Ted Gill, Max McGuire, and Charlie Cleveland, the latter of the two being the founders, and the first one I mentioned, Ted Gill being CEO, were all ousted out of the company. No reason was given at the time, but they were replaced by Striking Distance CEO Steve Papoutsis. Yeah, Papoutsis, I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, which bear with me, people, because my highlighters just mysteriously fucking vanished again, except this time I can't recover them. So I may be like, oh, where's that quote again that I wanted to read? So sometimes I might get a little lost in the sauce, but just bear with me a moment, right? Okay, so these guys mysteriously get all ousted out of their company that they started and that they've been running for 20 plus years at this point. And a lot of people were, understandably confused. Well, on July 7th, Charlie Cleveland, one of the founders, took to Reddit to release a heartfelt statement about pretty much like how he started as like a game developer, how he started Unknown Worlds. He used to work on Natural Selection. That was like really how he started into game development. That he was actually worked on Natural Selection, which was a very popular Half-Life mod, I believe. And then that eventually evolved into a sequel, Natural Selection 2. And then from there, he founded Unknown Worlds. Yes. He also spoke about how like Subnautica started and how also the importance of early access and how early access was so very important to the success of Subnautica and how much value he finds in early access and in community feedback. And then he talks about how Subnautica 2 was ready for launch, but apparently that decision is in Krafton's hands. Now, at around this time, Krafton also had a statement that they released at around the 3rd, and they addressed the community saying that there's going to be, some early access details and a roadmap that will be coming up pretty soon. So clearly there's like some kind of a divide between like what leadership is saying and what Krafton is saying. Leadership's like, well, this game's supposed to be coming out soon, it's ready to go. Then Krafton's like, no, like we need a little bit more time. So people are like, okay, like what the hell is going on, right? Kind of assuming the worst at this point. So then, yeah, I mean, it's not, it won't be the first time a multi-billion-dollar company screws over some developers.
Krafton's worth that much?
Yeah, they're multi-billion-dollar company. Yeah, they're a big company. So
I did not know that.
Fast forward to July 9th, and we have Krafton confirming that there will be a delay for 2026. The game was originally set for early access in 2025, but that will now be in 2026. And they said that this followed some playtests that provided some insight that are a few areas where we need to improve before launching the first version of Subnautica 2 to the world. Our community is at the heart of how we develop, so we want to give ourselves a little extra time to respond more of that feedback before releasing the game into early access. There was also reports on how this ousting occurred and this delay occurred just before there's going to be a $250 million payout to Unknown Worlds. And so in response to this, Krafton said that this decision was based solely on our commitment to quality and to delivering the best possible experience for players. It was not influenced by any contractual or financial considerations. Additionally, the decision had already been under discussion prior to recent leadership changes at the studio. So when people heard about the $250 million payout, again, assuming the worst, everyone understandably got kind of pissed, and many fans took to Reddit and also took to YouTube, as on YouTube, the Subnautica launch trailer for the early access, or the gameplay reveal trailer for it, was released on July 9th. And as you see in the comment sections, it got kind of clowned on for a bit.
Yeah.
And then on Reddit, you have fans calling for a boycott. Saying, do not buy Subnautica 2. The publisher Krafton has fired all 3 original founders of Unknown Worlds and delegating 2026 so that devs wouldn't receive $250 million in bonuses. Do not support these shady business practices. Do not buy Subnautica 2. And so, from then on, Krafton released a more detailed statement in response to all this hubbub going on. And it's a pretty lengthy statement. They actually do give some detailed explanation. So I'm actually going to read 2 sections here really quickly. So, Krafton deeply values Subnautica's unique creativity and immersive world building to provide fans with even better game experiences. We acquired Unknown Worlds, fully committed to supporting Subnautica's future success. We collaborated closely with the studio's leadership, who were central to the creation of the original Subnautica, to foster the optimal environment for a successful Subnautica 2. Specifically, in addition to the initial $500 million purchase price, we allocated approximately 90% of the up to $250 million earnout compensation to the 3 former executives, with the expectation that they would demonstrate leadership and active involvement in development of Subnautica 2. However, regrettably, the former leadership abandoned the responsibilities entrusted to them. Subnautica 2 was originally planned for an early access launch in early 2024, but the timeline has since been significantly delayed. Krafton made multiple requests to Charlie and Max to resume their roles as game director and technical director, respectively, but both declined to do so. In particular, following the failure of Moonbreaker, Krafton asked Charlie to devote himself to the development of Subnautica 2. However, instead of participating in the game development, he chose to focus on a personal film project. Krafton believes the absence of core leadership has resulted in repeated confusion, direction, and significant delays in the overall project schedule. The current early access version also falls short in terms of content volume. We are deeply disappointed by the former leader's conduct, and above all, we feel a profound sense of betrayal by their failure to honor the trust placed in them by our fans. And then, in the section below, Krafton's commitment to its promises in rewarding employees. Additionally, Krafton has committed to fair and equitable compensation for all remaining Unknown Worlds employees who have continuously and tirelessly contributed to Subnautica 2's development. We believe that the dedication and effort of this team are at the very heart of Subnautica's ongoing evolution, and we affirm our commitment to provide the rewards they were promised. Fans will always remain at the center of every decision we make at Krafton. Moving forward, we promise to be transparent communication and continue efforts to substantially develop and expand the beloved Subnautica universe. And so,
That's a mouthful.
yeah, that was a lot, but there was definitely some hefty accusations going on there, right?
No, there are.
They were saying
You're right.
that leadership was pretty much just not doing their job, so they just needed them out and then put their own people in and try to get, beef up the early access version of the game.
Which is kind of weird, because usually these publishers or these big companies or corporations are pretty, what's the word? They beat around the bush. They use vague language as we've seen. But these people, they just came out. They just straight up said like, "Hey, this is what's going on, and this is why we did it."
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, there probably is a lot of details you're probably missing out on the context.
Absolutely.
But
However,
this is more than we would normally get.
This is way more than we would normally get from a party of people that honestly consistently plays the villain. And by type of person, I meant like the publisher of the company. It's fair because I think everyone was ready to go and just to label Krafton as the villain because we've seen this story play out an untold number of times. But now they're like, no. They were doing some weird shit, so we just want to set the record straight.
Yeah. So, well, in response to this, the former leadership at Unknown Studios filed a lawsuit with Charlie taking back to Reddit, and he says, "Hello everyone, it continues to be an explosive and surreal time for the Subnautica team and community. None of this is what we wanted, but we truly appreciate the amazing support we've gotten from everyone. It means a lot to us, especially now. As I wrote last week, we know in our souls the game is ready for early access. That's just how we roll, and we'd like nothing more than for you to play it. Game devs lives for this, but it's not currently under our control. We've now filed a lawsuit against Krafton. The details should eventually become at least mostly public. You all deserve the full story. Suing a multi-billion-dollar company in a painful public and possibly protracted way was certainly not on my bucket list. But this needs to be made right. Subnautica has been my life's work, and I would never willingly abandon it or the amazing team that has poured their hearts into it. As for the earnout, the idea that Max, Ted, and I want to keep it all for ourselves is totally untrue. I'm in this industry because I love it, not for riches. Historically, we've always shared our profits to the team and did the same when we sold the studio. You can be damn sure we'll continue with our earnout/bonus. They deserve it for all their incredible work trying to get this great game into your hands." All right? And then, so... After all this, it gets even more crazy, right? As apparently there were some documents that were leaked from Krafton concerning Subnautica 2 and its development. So apparently there was a development assessment report that was leaked and was confirmed by Krafton to be legitimate. And it did have, over here, had what was currently in the game and going to be in the early access version if it came out in 2025. And this, on the right-hand side, is the version that Krafton wanted. And here you can see in bold that it is recommended to enhance the content volume and level of polish before launching so that it can appeal to a broader market from the early access research stage. And just before that, they said that they deemed this game to lack the level of polish and market impact required to drive IP growth and expansion. And then on the second page, we can see here a map of what has been in the game according to target content, that some milestones that Unknown Worlds had to receive or had to achieve. I'm sorry, and you see here, like in 2023, this is what they were supposed to get. 2024, 2025, right? And then on the very right hand side, we can see that the key reductions and changes. So compared to quarter 2, 2023, 2 biomes were removed. One type of Leviathan removed, fewer creatures, biomods, and character customization features excluded. Compared to quarter 2, 2023, number of tools, equipment decreased, and additional vehicles excluded. Custom game modes removed, and one narrative delayed with about 6 hours of content cut. So, with all this, it kind of fits the narrative that Krafton's been trying to say, where they're like, no, like we were trying to get like more content into the game. It wasn't us about like screwing over everybody out of money. It's just we just wanted the game to be bigger than what it was for early access. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, definitely a messy situation. Like, who knows what's really going on? I think this is one where we're just going to have to wait to see what happens.
Yeah, there's no clear-cut villain. There's no clear-cut, I guess, hero either. Everything's just a big muddled mess. money's involved, bonuses not getting paid, and a fan base that is boycotting. So, yeah, honestly, very confusing.
Yeah, it'll definitely be
I mean,
interesting to see how this develops.
does Krafton have a history of being, bad publishers, villains in the industry, that kind of thing, or no?
I think so, but I don't know any specifics. I know like they have like some kind. They're the publishers behind PUBG, so who knows how they've handled PUBG.
Yeah. Well, I mean, PUBG has its own history, but again, I don't know if that's due to Krafton or the developers themselves.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure.
Yeah, because PUBG is a notoriously not well taken care of game. So,
and after what happened with Marty Stratton and Mick Gordon, where Marty Stratton pretty much threw Mick Gordon under the bus with like all these detailed accounts about how like he was always late and stuff and always behind and uncooperative. And then Mick Gordon came out and was like, no, like I have the receipts here. What they said was bullshit, right? So I'm kind of like in that, okay, I need receipts.
Yeah, I think we need receipts. I mean, this timeline that they posted was, cool and everything, but we need more. We need, correspondence and stuff. We need some, investigative journalism on this. Fuck, what's that guy called? The games journalist that's always getting the scoop on good shit.
Jason Schreier.
That's it. Get Jason Schreier on the horn.
Well, I mean, if this goes far enough in the court system, we'll know a lot soon enough.
Yeah,
because that's what's going to happen, right? They're going to have to divulge a lot of information because that's what the lawsuit's going to necessitate.
Absolutely.
So, any other thoughts about this?
No, I'm just I wish them well because Subnautica 2. Excuse me, Subnautica. I played it and it was a very good game. Definitely gives you that fear of the ocean feel.
Yeah,
and I always wondered actually if it would have been better to play with friends. And this one is going to be like up to 4-player co-op. So
is Subnautica single player?
The first one, yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I want to make sure. Give me 1 second. But the second one is going to be like up to 4 people.
Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a mod, if anything. Yeah, so it's a single player game, but a family multiplayer mod called Nitrox allows for cooperative play.
Oh, okay. So there is some multiplayer option. You just got to go outside of the game itself.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a PC game on Steam, so of course there's going to be a mod for it. But this one's going to be native. So I would like to see this game be made and released so that we can play. Especially since, we're going to start getting into more games like that. With Grounded 2, we're gonna play with Paul and his buds, and that should be fun.
Yeah, that should be fun. Oh man, but what's not fun?
No. Well, actually, I'm gonna tell you what's not fun. Well, it's not fun, but it's funny to me personally. Live service games going down the crapper. So, in an article from IGN, Steel Hunters, the mech game from the people that made World of Tanks, one of those games that you always get ads for on YouTube, is the latest live service casualty. So, the live service bloodbath continues as Steel Hunters, the mech shooter game from the developers of World of Tanks, is ending. So, it was a game that originally launched in April 2nd in early access form on Steam. They were hoping for Titanfall vibes, as they say. And it's a free-to-play PvPvE shooter. And after just 3 months, they've announced plans to sunset the game. And in a post addressing the community, Wargaming said, quote, "Today we share difficult news. We've made the decision to sunset Steel Hunters. You've given us so much passion and support, but unfortunately we've come to the conclusion that continuing development is not sustainable. We know this isn't the news anyone wanted to hear, and we genuinely share your disappointment." So, what went wrong? Well, it was a live service game. Open and shut case. No, I'm kidding. So, it really just failed to capture an audience. I believe the article says that the Steam peak was $44.79, and it had a mixture view on Steam. I'm not sure exactly what the problem was with the game, like if it was boring or if it was buggy or just whatever the case may be. However, one the top user review on Steam did say though that they they criticize Wargame's lack of roadmaps, slow pace of updates, and various bugs. Which, yeah, I guess that'll do it to you. Yeah, it says here, quote, early access should have never happened. We should have never have left beta. Time and time again, the players have been vocal about changes or fixes that were needed and have come to the table with very helpful solutions, only to be met with "we are moving forward," only to then react with "why did it go south?" Yeah, a story of like every dev's life or a publisher rather. It's like no, we don't need to worry about this. Oh my god, why are we losing players? Why is this game not working?
Which that will definitely come into a play with our little Battlefield story coming at the end of the episode.
Absolutely. But yeah, so according to the article, live service games are enduring a tough time right now with a number of titles falling to the wayside. Every single time there's a live service game story, they always bring up fucking Concord. It's so funny. But yeah, so I mean, it's really just just a story to highlight the nature of the industry right now, and that live service games are finally starting to the chickens are coming home to roost, as they say, for the live service model. And I'm gonna say, hope they hope they keep coming to roost in that sense, because live service games, I mean, they're not good for us. They're not good unless you're Marvel Rivals. That's fine.
That's your Marvel Rivals. Oh, and Mecha Break, which we did play. I forgot to mention that.
Oh,
we played it once.
dude,
I forgot about it. But it is good. Honestly, it's very fun. And it's the Mecha live service game that is succeeding, apparently, because it got a lot of numbers during its beta, and I think a lot of people are playing it currently right now. And it was a pretty fun game from what little we played of it.
It is super fun. That was kind of weird. I was like, oh wait, there's a healing mech, and then I was like, okay, nope, this is the healing mech, and it makes perfect sense. I love this. I love it very much.
Yeah, but yes, it seems no such luck for Steel Hunters, unfortunately.
So you can't even remember the name, and you have the article staring at you in the face.
Well, I closed the article. Oh, well, I didn't close it, but like it's on the other side right now. As I look up the numbers for Mecha Break here, let me see.
Yes, I see Mecha Break.
Oh wait, I guess Steam charts is. There we go. Okay.
There you go. And look at that, 84,000. That's a good number.
Well, that was his all-time peak. His 24-hour peak was 33,000, and it's currently 16,000 people. That's a fairly healthy number.
Yeah, I would say that's a fairly healthy number, especially for a free-to-play game. I'd say
that's fairly healthy for the time being.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, unfortunate for Steel Hunters, but yay for us, I guess, because we don't need more of these, man.
No, we really don't.
And the attention economy has reached an all-time saturation with these kinds of games. Not even just like the money, it's just the attention economy, right? There's only so much time in the day for us to devote so much of our attention to these kinds of games.
Yeah, dude, you said it. I mean, just Marvel Rivals and Fortnite alone, like doing the dailies for each of those games fucking tires me out mentally. And, on top of the fact that I have homework to do, like, I end up having to choose one or the other for the day. So
yeah, exactly. Like Rivals, Overwatch, Fortnite. Now Mecha Break, honestly, like we kind of added that to our rotation a little bit. I feel like kind of playing it sometime soon because it was pretty fun.
Yeah,
but that's a lot of that's 4 games. That's a lot of games right there.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot. Yeah, and then don't forget the single player games that are coming out.
Yeah, and then of course like the single player games, which I'm so behind on single player games now. Like it feels like after Clair Obscura, it was just a fucking blur of shit that just came out. Like single player, like non-live service games. Like I still never got past the first boss or second boss rather in Elden Ring Night Raid. I only beat the first boss. Now is it? Like I never went back to the game. It also doesn't help that like I don't really have people to play with. So like I don't want to play randos, and my cousin's very inconsistent. so I play that game very very inconsistently. And then like I haven't even played the Lies of P DLC.
Really?
Yeah, I have not even played that because I had to start the game all fucking over because it's available at the end of the game, and I just got caught up with other stuff, and I'm close to getting to the DLC, but like it's taking a while.
I see. I understand. It's understandable.
Yeah. But you know what has been there for a while, or at least not anymore.
Oh no! What? Well, more like who has been there for a while and now is no longer there.
I want you to let us know.
Right. Well, in a shocking turn of events, Steam news that is not glazing over the platform.
Yeah, very rare.
So, in an article by PC Gamer, a modder that was behind the Swiss Army knife of PC gaming deletes their 20-year-old Steam account and posts an anti-Valve manifesto. Quote, you no longer have the liberty of buying a game from wherever you want, which is kind of a huge accusation. So, the name which he goes by Caladane, he took to GitHub yesterday to announce that he had deleted his Steam account after 20 years, posting an 8-point denunciation of the platform over its update policies, indifference to feedback, and general impact on PC gaming as a whole. In other words, if you brought a game from Windows 9, his post is pretty long, but it boils down to this. I mean, we'll get into the actual post itself in a bit, but he did express his frustration with Steam and how it revolves mostly around its update policies. He says, quote, in 2002, the client ran on Windows 98. Over the years, they bloated the living hell out of the DRM client with all kinds of unnecessary and undefeatable features that hinders software compatibility. So, yeah, so games that you purchased on, so example, games you purchased on Windows 98, which later had their system requirements bumped up to Windows XP, then to Windows 7, and then to Windows 10. So, yeah, fucking Windows 98.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why I laughed.
I knew that's why you were laughing. Okay.
In other words,
Yeah,
no, it's fine. But in other words, if you had bought a game from for Windows 98 on Steam and it did nothing, it would eventually stop working, not because the developer had updated the game or because you changed your PC, but because Steam itself would no longer run. So as a result, Caladane says you no longer have the liberty of buying a game from wherever you want. You must consider whether your store is going to continue receiving patches, whether the store itself is going to continue supporting your hardware, and whether your friends online bought the game from the same store. Which is kind of deep. Yeah, at the root, his frustration lies in how Steam as a platform extends itself into the games that you buy in such a way that you can't deal with one without dealing with the other. And that applies to Steam Input as well. The native Steam Input API is an abomination. Many games that use it have fallback code to use operating system input APIs. However, Valve's unbelievably short-sighted design deliberately hooks and blocks access to those APIs as part of Steam's input initialization. It's a mouthful, but essentially he's essentially saying that Steam has very short-sighted design choices, and it's actually causing major problems for your ability to own games. So, I mean, that's a bit of a mouthful, honestly. And honestly, what are your thoughts on this? Because I know Steam is very, very involved in the PC community, and that's where we get all of our games from.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can see here a lot of his stuff is there. I read some of it. I didn't get to read the whole thing, but his point about like DRMs and stuff like that, yeah, I can kind of understand. One thing I've always had a problem with Steam is that a lot of times their older games that are there sometimes don't work. So like if I bought for example Quake. I think when I first got Steam, I bought the original Quake, but the game just wouldn't work at all it just wouldn't work on Steam because, and I assume it's because of like what he said, that like Steam just does shit that just fucks with the requirements of it and then makes it pretty much unplayable. So I pretty much had to buy the game on GOG and like play it through GOG, or I had to like buy. I think what I did was I bought I downloaded a mod that moved it to the Dark engine, which is pretty much the engine that Thief uses, and then it would run that way. And then the game would run and stuff. So like I had to do some workarounds for it. And then same thing with Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. I bought it and it just didn't work at all. I had to get a mod that made the game work on there. So I think like his issue is like kind of ties into that, where it's like, okay, like you get the game now, but like in the future it could just stop fucking working for whatever reason, and it makes it a pain in the ass for the end user.
Yeah. Yeah, which is interesting because for him, he's because it says here that he has a gripe with game ownership, but he says that it will be a problem from the store that you license it from, and not necessarily an issue from the developers. So he's tackling it from a different angle that we didn't really notice before. But I guess it kind of makes sense because we've asked this question a bunch of times, like, hey, when I die, who gets access to my Steam library? You know, that kind of thing. It's like, oh well, it was technically licensed to you, and once you die, the license should get revoked because you died. Like no one else should have access to that license. So, which is weird thing to think about.
And he does have one interesting part here.
Yeah.
So he talks about like some stuff about the DRM and stuff, and like how DRM fucks with like Steam input and stuff.
Yes.
But then here he has a segment called Enter Monthly Subscription Game Libraries and DRM Free, exit Steam. In lieu of even the simplest commitment by Steam to keep their DRM client free of system requirement creep, business models like Ubisoft Plus, EA Access, and Game Pass represent far greater value to consumers. The claim is often made that you do not own the game with these services, but you do not own them on Steam either. Valve stops pretending to care if their store's software breaks your game after you played it for 2 hours. I would rather pay a fraction of the price to play a game for 1 month than pretend digitally distributed games have the lifespan of a boxed physical product. You can consume the entirety of a game within 1 month and pay an appropriate amount of money for the ephemeral service offered. GOG actually guarantees they will not patch anything without user consent. CD Projekt has my respect and may have its full retail prices and 30% revenue cut. They earned it. Valve and others should not be leeching as much money from the publishers as they are without stronger commitments to the end user that their software is going to continue running in the future.
Which is awesome. I know GOG's always been at the forefront for consumer rights, and good on them for doing so.
Yeah, their stuff is completely DRM free, and they don't, you know, like you said, they don't patch things like without the end user's consent. So like if you bought, so that's probably why like stuff like Vampire the Masquerade and Quake would like work if I just went to GOG and I just played it, it just worked. And I've gotten free games on GOG, like DOS games. Like they sometimes give like DOS games for free, and I play like a little bit of it, and it's like it just works. You just press it. And, I mean, you still have to do type in like initialize and shit, like the initialization commands, so like it actually boots up. But like other than that, like it works. But other than that, it just works.
Very impressive.
So any other thoughts?
Not really. I just thought it was interesting because this is a 20-year-old modder that was actually a Steamworks partner, and he was having problems with Steam. And he just posted it, and it's like, hey, listen, you know, I know things are bad, but don't think Steam is the messiah. You know, Lord Gavin ain't all what he was cracked up to be, which honestly, you know, breaks my heart. But if you think about it, at the end of the day, they are a $1 billion corporation, so they're inevitably going to have problems. But I think in Valve's case, it's not, you know, it's not really a problem of greed. It's more a problem of like sloth, which is funny enough, just another one of the deadly sins. Valve really is too lazy for its own good. Like they're making so much money that they don't have to do anything. So instead of fixing problems with their products, they just kind of just let everything go. Like, who cares? And that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got to say about that.
Mm-hmm. And then on this PC article, interesting here. So the writer Joshua Wollens says, but at least some of what. Well, first off, he points out how we've put a lot of power into Valve's hands by pretty much making Steam like the de facto digital storefront.
Yes.
And there might become a day where we'll regret it because they are, like you said, like a multi-billion-dollar company. even if they are private, like they're still like a company. But he says here, but at least some of what Chaldean complains about isn't necessarily on Steam's shoulders. It is well within developers' power to provide players with access to older game versions on Steam. KOTOR 2, which I recently played, lets you access its pre-Aspire version via a beta branch, for instance, but many of them you'd like not to. That strikes me as an issue of individual devs rather than Steam as a whole. And as for Steam input, well, again, if there's a problem there, it's with developers electing to use that API over OS native ones. Steam deserves scrutiny, no doubt, and many of the broader things Chaldean points out aren't unreasonable, but it would seem to me that insofar as the modder specific complaints are concerned, the problems are perhaps a lot broader than a single storefront. So, like, it's kind of a problem with just digital gaming in general. It's like kind of what they're pointing out.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense.
Which is, why, like, physical media is so important.
Yeah, it really is important.
Especially since, like digital rights and ownership is, like, kind of behind the times for law protections.
Yes, that's one of the things that we're fighting right now with the whole stop killing games shit. We need to be able to own what we actually pay for, because if not, we're just gonna end up fighting companies, and we don't want to pirate shit, man. Piracy is illegal. I'm willing to pay, just make sure it works and that it's mine. But yeah. But any other thoughts on this?
No, it was just interesting to think about, because like we kind of take Steam for granted, because it's great now. It's been great for 20 years. Like I have very few complaints about Steam. Like this is stuff like I never even really thought about. Like my biggest complaint was just like them just make it so like old games like just don't work, and I have to do a workaround. It's kind of annoying. But then you have GOG, who's like, it's amazing. Like GOG is a great website. So like if I go for like a super old game, like I'll just hop on GOG and I'll make that work. But even then, like I've bought games on GOG and like it just doesn't fucking work. So I guess whatever version the developers gave them just doesn't fucking work. Like I bought Blood 2 and like it didn't work. It just wouldn't work. And I looked up how to do it. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I'm not gonna do that. Apparently the game's not even that good. So I'm like, I'm not doing that shit. Whatever. I'll eat the $5 I spent.
Yeah, but then again, but as you said, that's a problem from the developer, because GOG only it distributes the version that the developers gave. So if the game is bad, it's on the developer's fault. But the other than that, that's pretty much it's pretty much it with Chaldean. Very interesting read. We'll have to keep track of this in the future, because Valve is always. They're lazy, but they still do stuff with Steam. But developers that are not doing anything with any of their products?
Who?
Oh boy. Well, more news from the Microsoft area. We have Romero Games saying that several publishers are interested in bringing its unannounced game across the finish line. We now have to reassess the entire staffing of our studio, they say. So, as you know, Microsoft has laid off, not laid off, they gutted their fucking gaming department. Like, it's
again.
It's all gone. It's all gone. Again, for the fucking 10th time in the past couple years. So
4 times in 18 months.
Romero, 4 times in 18
4
months.
times in 18 months.
That is unheard of. That is insanity. So, Romero Games has revealed that it has been contacted by several publishers keen to pick up its unannounced canceled project that was going to be published by Microsoft. After reports from former staff saying that the whole studio had been let go, Romero Games has now issued a fresh statement shedding further light on the situation and acknowledged that it has been forced to reassess the entire staffing of the studio. So, as of right now, the Romero Games insisted that it's currently operational and that the studio was not closed, and we're doing everything in our power to ensure that it does not come to that. As you know, last week, Microsoft made cuts to the gaming division, and, well, it was like 4% of all staff, which was like 9,100 employees. One of the cuts made was to Romero Games, that was founded by co-creator John and Brenda Romero, husband and wife couple. Now, while the studio itself has not confirmed its project was being published by Microsoft, something it has said is it is unable due to confidentiality agreements. Other staff members have separately named Microsoft as the company's partner via social media posts. And now, Romero Games has admitted that some may infer that from public information. So as I said, they have to reassess staffing for the entire studio. They're not closed. They're going to try everything to do what they can. But they have been contacted. I believe it was Project Raven. Was it, Jesse?
What?
Was it Project Raven? Like, they had a code name for, like, the game they were working on.
No, that was for the MMO.
That was for the MMO?
That was for ZeniMax, Project Blackbird.
Ah, okay. Sorry, excuse me. But in any case, but Romero Games has been contacted by people or by publishers that want to take their game and publish it under their name, which is pretty cool. Because if they can get someone to publish their game, then all their hard work will be for naught. They can, save their studio, save all those jobs, and possibly publish a good game. Because this guy's a legend. Co-creator of Doom.
Yeah, man, this guy is a legend, man. He was involved with Doom. He's involved with Wolfenstein. He's pretty much the granddaddy of first-person shooters, along with John Carmack and all the other people who worked on it at the time.
I was just gonna say John Carmack was the other guy. I was like, damn it, it's something Carmack, John. That's it. Oh, fuck you, Microsoft.
Yeah. So best of luck to them. But it continues.
Best of luck. Oh, absolutely, it continues. So weirdly, EA Japan has had something to say about Microsoft. His name was Sean Noguchi, expressed disappointment and deep pain about Microsoft's recent consolidations and cancellations of game products. So Noguchi, writing on Twitter, no, we will not call it X, expressed how disappointed he was to see more waves of layoffs and cancellations. Of course, it's in Japanese, but it's translated. It was translated by IGN about how the trend in Western companies to chase short-term profits and reduce long-term payoffs or stability has led to damaging the game industry as a whole. To quote, the quote's in English, but the game industry is held up by every single creator and member of staff who diligently develop games on the ground. As someone in the same industry, I feel deep pain regarding this decision. He did reiterate that Microsoft's decision to kill off projects has been in the works for many years and was deeply regrettable. Although companies justify canceling projects to cut loss and avoid the sunk cost fallacy, Noguchi expressed specific concern for the staff that would have nothing public to show for their work. It's just my personal opinion, but if a game was in development for 7 to 10 years, canceling feels like the worst move. Yes, this is correct. That's a decade of work, potentially a quarter of someone's entire career completely lost. Even if the final project isn't what people originally expected, I think it still deserves to ship. Something is better than nothing for both the team and the player.
I don't know about that, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean, usually if a game takes that long to cook, you could expect it to be a failure. I mean, look at what's the most recent example of a game that was in development for 10 years?
Skull and Bones.
Thank you. Skull and Bones.
Quadruple A example.
The quadruple A experience. Speaking of quadruple A, I think Starfield was also in development for a while too, right?
Like 6 years. But that's not that long. But that's a game you should take around that time anyways. That's not that crazy for that. I mean, it still sucked, but
yeah, no, it's still off.
But it wasn't because they were taking forever to make it and just didn't know what to do. It's just because Bethesda just sucks now.
Oh, yeah, Bethesda. This is true. Yeah. But Noguchi's comments may be informed by Japan's culture and legal regime that both emphasize corporate continuity and enforce strong protections for workers, which is weird because, usually workers in Japan are known for being overworked.
Yeah, but it's hard to lay them off.
Yeah, it's really hard to lay them off.
And they're all about like breeding loyalty between employees and bosses and stuff. A lot of times to a fault, but they're all about that.
That's true. Well, actually, I heard that there was something that they do. I forgot what it's called, but it's the practice of boring your employee to death to the point that they'll quit on their own. Yeah,
they'll do stuff like that. They'll find loop workarounds for it.
Yeah. There's a name for the practice. I told my parents about it. They thought it was super interesting. Yeah, Noguchi's employer. The article goes to talk about his employer, a United States-based corporation that's been a high-profile participant in laying off staff and canceling games, which of course is EA. EA canceling, and it just goes to show that everyone thinks that Microsoft is really going off the deep end with this bullshit.
Yeah.
So yes, so you got Japan telling Microsoft to eat shit, and that's why they laughed at Phil when he wanted to buy Nintendo.
They tried several times.
And
It's not the
they
first
tried
time.
several.
Yeah, during the original Xbox days, they wanted Nintendo to be involved with the hardware development of it because they didn't know how to make They didn't know how to make hardware because Microsoft's a software company. So like, we have to make the hardware ourselves. Like that's gonna be really expensive, and we don't really know how to do it. So like, we need someone who knows how to do it. They're hoping to buy Nintendo. Nintendo was like, nah.
It's like, no. You do you, dude. You do you. Yeah. But there's some more news as well. Game Pass is getting critiqued. So Microsoft's Game Pass, as you know, has been around for a while. We've talked about it plenty of times, how it's a great deal for gamers, but we've also kind of thought about like, damn, how is this supposed to be self-sustaining, sustainable?
Trick question. It's not.
That's your question. That's the neat part. It's not.
It doesn't.
Yeah. Well, it seems that Rafael Colantonio, founder of Arcane Studios, who has made great games such as Redfall and what else?
He left before then.
He left before then.
He was gone before. He wasn't associated with that.
Oh, he was gone before then. Oh,
Yeah,
good for him. Smart one. So he actually was giving a critique on Game Pass and why it was doing more harm than good. We think that I think the Game Pass is an unsustainable model that has been increasingly damaging to the industry for decades, subsidized by Microsoft's infinite money. But at some point, reality has to hit, which, by the way, I think it's hitting right now. Colantonio replied, saying, "I don't think GP can coexist with other models. They'll either kill everyone else or give up." Jesus, that's a pretty harsh take. Yeah, but according to a Bloomberg report in 2024, Microsoft spends $1 billion a year to get third-party games onto its subscription service. That's in addition to the billions the console maker has spent acquiring Marquee?
Mm-hmm.
Marquee? Okay, sorry, I don't speak French. Marquee Studios like Bethesda Softworks and Activision Blizzard. For contrast, the most recent sales numbers set the tally at 35 million Game Pass subscriptions, some of which include the people who are only paying $1 or otherwise bought the subscription through one of his periodic sales.
Worst dollar ever. No, actually, it was $1 spent.
Well, we only spent it to play Back 4 Blood, right?
Well, we played Back 4 Blood, but I also played some other games. I played Proteus, which is a pretty good game, and then I bought it on Steam. So I got my money's worth for that $1. But if it was Back 4 Blood, I'd be like, fucking A.
It was the worst dollar ever.
But I digress.
But anyway, so yes, we digress. So service went up in price a year ago, and Game Pass was making even less money than it's making now. So in 2022, there was 25 million subscribers, and and that's pretty much it. So Game Pass apparently has been losing subscribers over the past few years, which coincides with the admission from Phil that subscriptions are slowing down on console. Though it may appear nonsensical, this approach is a tried and true model in the world of tech. Again, Microsoft is trying to go the way of Uber, trying to go the way of Netflix and all that crap. But yeah, I think also say that Raphael's critique on Game Pass is correct, because it really, like, we asked those questions like, how is it supposed to sustain itself? And he came out and just said it. It will not sustain itself in the slightest. But of course, posting things like that on Twitter usually makes for a healthy conversation on the internet, right? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. No. Yeah. So his post lit a fuse on social media where developers and gamers alike were chiming in. Some creatives in the industry were agreeing with the assessment. Funny enough, for gamers, the Game Pass critique has gone down poorly, which is kind of weird because yeah, as gamers, like it's a good deal, but we know like if we think about it, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, like in terms of game preservation and that kind of shit. So it doesn't help that he still tries to spend time trying to reason with people who are misreading his post, and well, essentially he's just trying to placate the masses on Twitter, which is a huge mistake. He does say stuff like, I understand the gamers like it, it's a great deal, but the math doesn't work for GP. It only works because Microsoft injects billions into it to make it a good deal for the players. Which, yeah, it makes sense. Microsoft honestly has
for now. Don't forget that part. For
exactly.
now.
Well, yeah, because eventually Microsoft is going to run out of. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Eventually, Microsoft is going to stop injecting money into their game division because when the time comes for cuts, they're going to. Well, I mean, they've already been doing it. So eventually, it's gonna go down. It's gonna go down.
Way down.
Like, way down, almost non-existent, to the point where they're like, you know what, bro? This division has been doing nothing but failing and costing money. So, because they're going to reach a point, because remember, Microsoft is one of those companies that's going all in on artificial intelligence and quantum computing and that bullshit. So they're going to need every dollar they can. And right now, they're fine, but eventually, they're going to keep going on the chopping block. And as we've as we covered in previous stories, the CEO, I think, has been stepping in to do those cuts to the game division and whatnot. So this is pretty interesting, the fallout. I mean, not really fallout because it's still actively happening. Nothing the dust hasn't settled yet, as they say. So it'll be interesting to see where Microsoft goes. We were all thinking it. Game Pass is not sustainable.
No, I don't think it is because it's. I mean, we talked about this before, right? It's the streaming service conundrum, right? It takes a lot of money just to sustain it, right? Just to sustain the infrastructure of it, right? But then you have to make it affordable for people. So then,
yes.
But if you make it too affordable for people, you don't make money. So then what happens is, well, you get in some people, and then you raise the prices, and then people fall off because the prices have risen. Like, oh, fuck this, I'm not going to spend that much money. And then what happens? They squeeze even tighter. They raise the prices even more, and then more people fall off, and they squeeze tighter even more, and then more people fall off, right? Until eventually you reach a point where everyone who's going to hang on is hanging on at that point, and you can't charge anymore without losing your core people that yes. truly support the model.
Of course, and there's a study that showed that I forgot where the article was, but it showed that there's a certain number of people that if they've been paying for something for a long time, there's a really good chance that they'll keep paying for it despite you raising the price. So they've probably done the math on this and said, if we raise the price, we'll still retain 60% of our clientele, which to them is I think that'll cover the costs or whatever. But it doesn't matter because, like you said, at a certain point, you can't raise the price anymore without losing all your fan base. And that's what's happening now. And I mean, usually what's happening too is what you did. You played games on the Game Pass and these games are pretty good. And then you go and you buy them on Steam for $20 and then they're yours forever. Well, yours. The license is yours.
Yeah, the license is mine.
So, honestly, dude, if I'm being real with you, I don't think Xboxes will be around for a bit. Like in a bit. They keep injecting
Xbox. Yeah, I think Xbox will go the way. Microsoft will still be there though.
No. Microsoft is here to stay for years. Like I said, they themselves are running a fucking $1 trillion company, and they're pouring millions of dollars into the next evolution of technology, with AI and quantum computers and all that crap. But Xbox has just been so mismanaged that, I mean, you said it, dude. They're pouring billions of dollars and then billions of dollars more. Dude, who drops that kind of cash like it's no big deal? It's unheard of. All to still be in the negative, which is incredible.
Well, I mean, the idea is, you operate a loss, you build up your base, your super base, and then you just abuse the shit out of them until you can't abuse them anymore.
Yeah, but that's excessive. And also, like, you had your base and you were actually making profit during the Xbox 360 days. So I'm sorry, but you had your base, you had it set, and yet mismanaged and poor decision making led to that base being destroyed. And then instead of trying to fix that core base that you had, now you're trying to build up again with a new base with the subscription model. But now that's not working. I mean, it technically has never really worked. I'm very confused I'm very confused that, they were a legitimate titan in this industry at one point, and
Mm-hmm.
and they just decided, you know what? What if we make the worst decisions possible in the stupidest way imaginable?
Yeah, they went the way of Sega in the
Dude,
90s.
it's crazy. It's crazy how history repeats itself like that. Cuz it really is, it's very mind-boggling. So yeah, I think Xbox will not exist as a brand for much longer. Now, how long it'll take? Well, who
Yeah.
knows? It really just it depends. It depends if at what point Microsoft says, you know what, we're done injecting billions of dollars into this division. This is your rap sheet. You have absolutely nothing to show for it. We are shutting you down and just absorbing you.
Well, when I said Microsoft, I meant Microsoft Gaming specifically, right?
Well, that's what I meant.
And
Microsoft. Yeah.
no, Microsoft Gaming will still be there. It's just gonna be like the more we read into this, the more it feels like, and the more like I've researched into it, because like I looked at like insider information and stuff, that like there's a guy called Sneakers SO who claims he has like a bunch of insider information. Take it as a grain of salt, by the way. But this guy did predict that Microsoft was going to go multi-platform back in 2023. So he does have some credibility. But yeah, he was talking about like how like pretty much Microsoft, the gaming part, Microsoft Gaming is pretty much turning into Activision Blizzard 2.0, pretty much. And like everybody that's not Call of Duty, King, Blizzard, like they're all on the chopping block. And pretty much like the ABK leadership that was there is like they still run like the way they run, which is like we're just gonna put all of our eggs into the mega franchise basket, and then that's it. Like, and then we're gonna put it on as much platforms as possible, so we can cast as wide as possible and make as much money as possible. Like, but everything in between that, it's game for being cut.
Yeah. They shouldn't have bothered buying up all those in the first place. They really just bought all those studios and IPs just so that they can fluff up their Game Pass. But
yeah, no, I mean that's what it was. Really.
But again, I say you need new games to ensure some kind of sustainability for said Game Pass. Or am I crazy for thinking that?
No, that's what I was saying last episode, right? You gotta buy the studios, right? But then make sure they ship shit, manage them. Like, don't just soak them up and then just leave them to their own devices and be like, all right, well, I think I'm gonna do that again, right? And then next you have a bunch of studios, just studio after studio after studio. There's fucking up constantly. Like, just the management of those individual studios is just not shipping a game, not getting a game together and just getting it out there. And if they do, it's like a mediocre ass game. Like, Halo should have been like on a tight leash after 5, pretty much.
Yeah, they really should have been.
And everything that went down, like Infinite, and all the development problems that are going on with Infinite, like there should have been like someone going in there and be like, okay, hey, like where's my game? What are you guys doing? Like,
yeah, dude. And now the new game that's supposed to run on the Unreal 5, there's reports coming out that developers are not like happy at all with the quality of the game. And isn't this thing supposed to come
well,
out?
they're working on multiple games. They didn't specify which one was the one, but they said that one of the games they're working on, like no one's happy with the way it's turning out.
Yeah,
we don't know if it's next Halo.
Yeah, no, but the article showed a picture of the Master Chief. So I mean, I think it was heavily implied that was the game. And honestly, that's the game everyone wants to look forward to. So That's not a good look. It's not a good look.
And even like their champion franchises, well, their former champion franchises doesn't feel like they're all that safe now, like because they feel like they're kind of like one fuck up away, which is probably why like Gears of War went back to like being a prequel and went back to Marcus and Dom.
Yeah, because they're trying to milk the nostalgia factor.
Yeah,
which, by the way, it's working. It's working. But
yeah, because I'm interested in it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've always wanted a prequel Gears of War game where like they cover like what happened during the early days of the Emergence War. I always wanted to see that, right? But like the new trilogy, like people was like, man, I don't know about this.
No, absolutely. Yeah, Gears 4 and 5 were kind of whatever. Was there a Gears 6 or no?
No, never. They didn't even bother. And 5 left on like a cliffhanger, I think. And they just want to fuck it.
Oh, yeah, they did. They saw like the interest in it was so abysmal. And they're like, you know what? This isn't worth it. Shut it down. Oh my god. Oh. Well, anyway, speaking of shutting it down, do you want to cover the next story, Senorito?
Yeah, so we have here a big, and I mean big, article by Ars Technica covering the development of Battlefield. Wait, is it on the screen? Yeah, there you go. All right, so this is a great article written by Ars Technica. The writer is Samuel Axon, and it was released actually quite a while ago, which I'm really surprised. Like, no one seemed to cover this. Like, no one. Like, I saw, like, SkillUp talked about it, like, on his news roundup, but, like, none of the major publications, really spoke about this. But it's kind of like this big expose on, like, what's been going on with Battlefield and, like, how there's been so much stress concerning this game because it's supposed to be, like, the biggest Battlefield game ever. It's supposed to be, like, Return to Form, but, like, it's kind of... it's going through a lot of trouble, especially with the single-player campaign, and the development is still moving on despite all the troubles that have been going on. They don't want to slow down.
Interesting.
But to give some information on the article itself, so like I said, it was published by Ars Technica and written by Samuel Axon, published on July 2nd. And in this expose, he speaks to various employees across multiple disciplines, studios, and seniority levels. And they cite three major issues, being that there are culture clashes, a ballooning budget, and major disruptions that have gone on with development. Apparently, EA made massive structural changes to the game, to the way they make Battlefield games, so that it can compete with Call of Duty and Fortnite. And we're going to go into that in a bit because the milestones they want them to reach are fucking insane. God. It's crazy considering that Battlefield has never been nearly as successful as Fortnite and Call of Duty. And a lot of this has led to a lot of long hours and a lot of stress and burnout, with two people in particular saying that they've never seen it this bad. So, like I said, this is a doozy of an article. It even has a table of content. That's how fucking long it is. So I'm going to go section by section and just kind of quickly summarize it a bit, and then we'll just stop along the way and talk about it, because I'm not just going to drone on and on and on and on. All right, so for the beginning of the article, we have the road to Glacier and not repeating mistakes here, and these kind of go hand in hand with each other. Right, so the first part, Road to Glacier, gives us some background on how Glacier started, Project Glacier being the project name for the new Battlefield game. So after the success of Battlefield 3 and 4, there was an explosion of players. But then in 2018, when Battlefield launched, it launched to middling success, and that was a whole controversy with like the trailer that was released, and there was like a woman there with like an amputee arm or whatever, like shooting MP40 and stuff. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, this isn't World War II authentic. But
I thought it was World War One.
No. Battlefield 1 was World War 1. And that one was a good game.
Oh.
People like that game.
Okay.
But Battlefield 5, not so much.
Yeah.
So it came out to middling success, and it was losing players to games like Overwatch and Fortnite and Call of Duty, which, of course, were really popular at the time. And so this prompted DICE to work on Battlefield 2142, and they kind of built it as like a return to form because, they wanted to get back in the good graces of players. Well, 2021 comes along, and Battlefield 2042 launches, and, well, we all know how that went. It was an absolute buggy mess that didn't resemble Battlefield at all. It had hero classes there. They didn't even have actual like classes. It had like hero characters that you pick and like have like their own abilities and stuff. It had like broken hit detection. The maps were way too fucking big. There was no content at all. There was barely any maps, and there was no campaign mode at all.
Yeah,
so then,
I remember.
Yeah, I remember.
No, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that long ago. I saw 2021. I'm like, oh shit, really? Like, okay, it's only been 4 years. Dude. It's already been 4 years. Like, damn. Okay.
Yeah, dude, a lot of time has passed.
So then, DICE runs a postmortem on 2142, and they determined that, well, our vision is okay, but our process isn't working out because what ended up happening is that the game apparently missed a lot of its alpha targets, which ended up causing them to cut out a lot of features and relegate it to like, day one patches or stuff that they would add later on. But then EA kind of steps in and they help change the processes. And they add in 3 new leaders to help head Battlefield, which all 3 of them were from the US. And this naturally led to some culture clashes. So,
yes.
Before we get into all that, let's talk about the franchise leadership, right? So we kind of got some FPS gaming royalty here, like heading up on it. So in 2021, EA brought in 3 leaders, and that was the first one being Byron Bede, who is the general manager, who was brought in as general manager for Battlefield, and he was the former general manager of Call of Duty and Destiny. Then we have Marcus Leto, who was brought in as CFO of Ridgeline Games, which is a new studio being built solely to make single-player campaigns for Battlefield. And he is the co-creator of Halo. And he, like I said, he was responsible for Glazier's SP campaign, the single-player campaign. And then, of course, we have Vince Zampella, who is of Call of Duty and Titanfall fame. And remember, he had that infamous falling out with Activision over a lot of the unpaid bonuses, and then he went on to make his own company, and then they made Titanfall. In light of all this, the old DICE leadership leaves, with general manager Oscar Gabrielson leaving and creative director Lars Gustafsson leaving, who was affectionately known as Mr. Battlefield. So obviously,
yeah, that's a hell of a name.
Yeah, he was kind of seen as like the guy behind Battlefield, and so it was definitely a bit of a blow to see him go. But out with the old European leaders and in with the new American leaders. So then,
oh boy,
in comes the big milestone, right? 100 million players. That was EA's goal for the new Battlefield game. 100 million players over the span of its entire life. Apparently, this was motivated by Fortnite and Warzone being massive successes. And so their plan was to include a free-to-play BR mode that would be launched alongside the new Battlefield game, a 6-hour campaign, the traditional multiplayer you come to expect from Battlefield, Gauntlet mode, which is supposed to be a new F2P mode, and as well as Portal, which is going to be a community content mode where players can make like their own content, like give it out to other players to like make, which sounds pretty cool. Like that sounds like a pretty complete package, and like the fact that you're going to give players the ability to make their own custom content, I think is really cool.
Yeah.
But there's one problem though, right? And that is Battlefield has not reached close to those numbers at all. According to one EA employee, they were saying, obviously Battlefield has never achieved those numbers before. It's important to understand that over that same period, 2042 had only gotten 22 million players. Even 2016's Battlefield 1, the most successful game in the franchise by numbers, achieved only 30 million plus. So as you can see, like they're definitely working with some rather unrealistic milestone expectations.
100 million players. That is obscene. I want to know what the whoever suggested that number. I want to know what they were on, because goddamn, dude.
Well, I mean, they were on that battle royale, on that Fortnite, right? Like, oh, we gotta get that battle royale gas money. Oh, so we can get that profit value that's stuck up.
Oh my!
We get our big bonuses.
Lord have mercy on that.
So then we go over to the next section here with the most expensive Battlefield ever. and skepticism in the ranks. So, naturally, a lot of developers were skeptical about whether they could even achieve those numbers, 100 million players. But there's also the fact of the budget itself. So the game had an initial budget of 400 million, which is fucking insane. Naturally, you have 4 studios with a bunch of support studios working on it. That's a lot of people you gotta pay for. But apparently, several disruptions brought it past that, and hundreds of devs were hired, and that made the budget go way past 400 million. Although exact number was never really given. And so, very few. She specifically quoted, very few people who worked at the studios believed that the 100 million player count is achievable, especially DICE members.
Fuck.
One source was reported saying, nothing in the market research or our quality deliverables indicates that we would be anywhere near that.
Jeez.
Right. So then we go over into Ridgeline, right? And this is where the major disruption kind of comes in. So Ridgeline, like I said, was being headed by Marcus Leto, co-creator of Halo, and he was supposed to make the single-player campaign for Project Glacier. Well, as he was working on the campaign, he was also hiring staff and building up the studio over the span of about 2 years. But in 2024, Ridgeline closed after reviews from internally at EA saw that it was coming along very, very poorly. And according to EA sources, there was no proper internal review, and the true status of the campaign was being obfuscated the entire time until they got that big review towards the end where they were like, yeah, this isn't working. Like, this is not what we wanted. But according to Ridgeline, they kind of paint a picture of there being an impossible situation, talking about how they had to scale up while also meeting impossible milestones that you would expect out of a studio that's like more established with itself. So they were expected to hire a shitload of people, get those people on board how to make their stuff, and then also make that stuff in a tight time schedule. So naturally, that didn't work out.
Really? You don't say.
Yeah, really. So then the single-player campaign then shifts to new studios, which is Criterion, DICE, and Motive. And at this point, now the single-player campaign is 2 years behind development because they had to pretty much scrap everything that Ridgeline was making. And as of the writing of this, and as of this spring, it is the only mode that has not reached alpha stage. So they don't even have all the features into it yet. It is pre-alpha. Like, it's not even ready to like start putting assets in. Like, they're still trying to figure out like what it is they want to put into it. So, that happens. Whoops. And then we have the culture shock. So, DICE kind of very early on started kind of feeling some tension from the U.S. Leadership, and they were kind of like, well, we didn't really like their top-down approach because before Battlefield 2042, DICE was kind of open to like kind of make the games how they wanted. They were able to handle their own production pipeline how they wanted. They were able to kind of put in what they wanted. But now they have U.S. leadership come in and be like, no, you got to do this, right? And it, led to them feeling a little creatively unfulfilled. But they worked through it anyways. However, all sources across all studios say that there was one problem that they cited, and that was growing pains. Because before, how it worked was it would be DICE was the main studio making Battlefield games, and they have some support studios helping them out. Now you have 4 studios working on the game, and you have a bunch of support studios going around. And this is across multiple time zones, by the way, right? Because you have DICE is based in Sweden, I believe, Stockholm, Sweden. So you have to deal with, Sweden time zone, and then you have to deal with the LA time zone.
That is the weirdest fucking. Oh my god. And so they're probably very all over the place then with that shit.
Yeah. So then naturally, these same sources that talk about the growing pains also express worry that the new approach will amplify a lot of the mistakes that 2042 made because people are pretty much have all these different processes and like people aren't 100% in sync because different studios have different cultures and different ways of doing things. And then on top of that, you have different time zones. And you have thousands of people working on this. It's very hard to coordinate thousands of people to get them into one direction on something. So then, okay, nothing here about that. All right, so then we move on to the gates, right? So EA Studios work on like a gate system where there are 3 gates they have to pass. The first one being vision. They have to have a clear vision of what they're going to do and determine whether or not it is feasible, then they pass the gate. And then gate 2, key technologies, where they have to develop the key technologies that they're going to be putting within their game. And once they finish developing that, then they're able to get to gate 2. And then gate 3 is full production. So like once they have everything lined up for full production, once they get the game into alpha, then they can go past that gate and then start entering beta and then start, polishing the game out. But apparently, Glacier reached gate 3 pretty late, obviously because of holdups with the single player campaign. But there were EA employees reporting that that maybe they shouldn't have reached it. And one of them was saying that at the time, I did not see robust budget, staff plan, feature list, risk planning, etc. as we left gate 3. In the way EA usually works, these things would all be expected at this stage. And so a lot of these people say that, well, actually one person attributed this to a lack of single source of truth in the organization. So what they mean by that is like, everyone had different processes, like I mentioned earlier, like, and everyone was using different information, right? What the devs thought like the game should go, or how they thought progress was going was different from like how leadership thought progress is going. And so you get a lot of mixed signals there naturally.
Of course.
Any thoughts so far? Because I've been kind of yammering on and on.
No. I'm just listening to you. You're essentially painting the story of how Battlefield 2042 came to be. I mean, it seems like it was... Well, I mean, you're not done talking about it, but it seems like it was just a mess right from the get-go. Unrealistic expectations, culture clashing between, European and
Well,
US
this is Glacier I'm talking about. All this is Glacier.
Yeah, I know, but you're going through the story itself. But no questions so far.
Right, so then EA employees talked about how they felt like they were being shut out of meetings when they were raising concerns about this, and they kind of went through gate 3 anyways, despite these concerns about how there were features missing and like the single player campaign in particular wasn't really ready to go. But they went through gate 3 anyways and entered full production, and that could potentially lead to issues down the line because now the single player now has to pretty much play catch up the entire time. And they have to like rush through everything, and that could lead to a lot of mess ups, which then they have to go back and fix. Because if not, then if they launch it, it's going to be a huge mess. And then on top of all this, they have to get it ready in time for submission to the consoles, because you have to get your game ready to submit for certification to the console platform holders, Xbox, Nintendo, Sony and stuff. And they pretty much just check to see like okay, this is like break our software in any way or break our hardware in any way. It's kind of what it's for, but it has to be done like way in advance.
Yeah.
And so it cleared, regardless of the issues that were raised up. And so afterwards, the article then talks about how this could lead to consequences for players. And that happens in 2 ways, right? So day 1 patches, right? And like I said, this could be due to console certification. So some things don't pass the certification process, so they have to relegate it to day 1 patches. They have to release it afterwards because, the content's ready and it's certified, but we have this other content that's like needs to be put in, but it's not certified. So we have to wait until we actually launch the game to actually, put it in. So then also, there was also plant content held for later, which is another issue that could possibly come up. Like I said, like content that had to be wait for approval is now going to be launched later. And oftentimes you have to pay for it at this point. And it's EA, let's be real, you're going to have to pay for it in some capacity.
Yes, absolutely, you're going to have to pay for it.
And so from then on, they talk about the single player conundrum and the AAA burnout problem that was going on within EA. I mean, of course, it's going across throughout the industry. So because the single player campaign is so far behind now, they kind of have to have all hands on deck with it, and these people are going to be working very, very long hours, and that leads to a lot of stress. You have reports here of people taking 8-9 months of leave just because stress problems, and even the source himself who cited it talked about how like even he himself took it. Right, he says there's like I would like hesitate to count, but a large number compared to other projects. I've been on who have taken mental exhaustive leave here. Some as short as 2 weeks to a month, some as long as 8 months and 9.
That's a long time for leave. Jesus. Oh,
Excuse me. Ooh, damn. All right. This is partly because of long hours that were required when working directly with studios in both the U.S. and Europe, a symptom of the new multi-studio structure. So another source was cited saying, "My day could start as early as 5 a.m. The first half of the day involved meetings with a studio in one part of the world, while the second included meetings with a studio in another region. Then my evenings would be spent doing my work because I'd be tied up juggling things across all the board across time zones." So long hours were particularly an issue with Ridgeline, and one person who was on Ridgeline said that from the beginning, members of the Ridgeline team felt they were expected to deliver work at a similar level to that of established studios like DICE or Ripple Effect before they were even fully staffed. Oh wait, no, that's just a summary. Like that's just a summary of what I said earlier. So, within 6 months of the starting line, some developers were saying they were burnt out already. And so, they also make mention in the article about the EA spouse letter, which was an infamous letter that was published like 20 years ago. And it was pretty much an anonymous spouse of an EA developer working on Madden. And they were pretty much digging into EA, talking about how abusive they are and how what they're doing is illegal and that things need to be changed, that what they're doing is wrong. And like anyone else in the industry would have been like sued to death, or any other industry would have been sued to death, like before their stock prices even had time to tank. And in light of that, there were some changes made at EA. They gave some more mental health support, and they also gave a lot better compensation for working overtime and such. But a lot of problems still persisted, and that's kind of highlighted by this one employee here who says, "I sought some, I guess, mental help inside of EA from HR within the organization of some sort, just to be able to express it. Difficulties I experienced personally or from co-workers in the development team that had experienced this, that had lived through that. And the nature of that is that there's nobody to listen. They pretend to listen, but nobody ultimately listens. Very few changes are made on the back of it."
yeah, of course.
And so there's, of course, rampant problems with Glacier. Many, like I said, took leave of absence. And from then on, like, they talk about like how things can change and about like, all the problems that this game could face in the future, because like we talked about earlier in the episode, the attention economy is saturated at this point. And then of course talk about working smarter, not harder. Like it's just all like solution based stuff. So that's why I'm not going to cover it too much. And I'm going to implore people to just read the entire article. I just gave a cliff notes on what happened here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So any thoughts? Because that was a lot.
No, it's a lot to take in.
All right. So sorry about that, folks. We had to take a little awkward break there.
Yeah, the weirdest thing, freaking. To get a call twice only to be told like, "Oh no, never mind, sorry," from work. And I was like, "The fuck, dude!" And that scared me because I thought I was working tonight and I was late, or I had an issue at work that they needed to contact me about, and that's scary because usually when they call you like while you're at home, like call you, not text you, email, it means that like you have done something. So I was like, shit. Oh my god, whatever, this is it. All right, it's okay. I'll be in the cup. Just don't fire me. Yeah. But back to the article from Ars Technica. No, it's interesting to see. I was kind of like going off on a little bit of a rant there. I wasn't really focusing because of the work call, but it really is interesting to see how so much money can get sunk into a project just to have it like not work out in the slightest, or like have everything that can go wrong with it. And we were just talking about how Microsoft is dumping billions of dollars into their Game Pass and all this other shit. EA has kind of been doing, I mean, not billions, but EA has been doing something similar with their projects. But really, for me, the best part is at the end with Larian Studios, with a little excerpt there that says, you need to build more slowly and focus on the art, which, is kind of like a no-brainer. It's a common sense answer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the right answer. He's right. Like these people, they just want to make quarterly earnings. I mean, EA specifically said, we want 100 million players because they want to compete with the Call of Duties and the Fortnites and the Overwatches. I mean, not so much now, but you know, Fortnite and Call of Duty are still juggernauts. You know, I mean, and I can attest to it. Fortnite is a good game. You know, I never thought of it before, but ever since I started playing with my friend Aislinn, it's a really good game. And dude, they update, and there's so much content with it. Actually, I bought the battle pass for the season because they had really good skins. Well, dude, so they had the new Superman skin for the new movie that came out,
Okay.
and they also have the original Superman, like when the shield was a legit S and not the weird Kryptonian symbol for hope.
Mhm.
Like it was, and it's really freaking cool. So they put out content like crazy for their people, and EA just wanted they wanted that. But the problem was they didn't build slowly. They wanted that shit like now. They wanted their Fortnite. They wanted their Call of Duty right then and there, and they wanted their developers to make it happen. So they really need to take it slowly if they want to get to that point.
And
'cause-
Fortnite was like lightning in a bottle, right? Like
Yes.
and like it wasn't like even Epic didn't expect it to be the success that it was. It just struck while the iron was hot. It's not something you can just throw money at and just manufacture. You gotta.
Well, what makes it even more impressive was that Fortnite was a complete accident. The original game mode was like a tower defense where you fight zombies, like you defend against zombies and shit.
Yeah. Like I said,
And then their
lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, and then their battle royale like concept was like, oh, it's a beta. Like they had it as a beta version because I think, well, I forgot what video I was watching, but it was essentially they were dumping their zombie game into a saturated market at the time. So they were like, I don't think this is gonna sell very well. Well, let's just do this free mode, and the free mode ended up taking off. You know, the battle royale mode, and they're like, oh shit, there's some money to be made here. Holy crap! And they're still printing money to this day. I mean, to the point where companies like Disney are investing obscene amounts of money into the product so that they can rake in the benefits. So, and also in reference to the attention economy that you were talking about, yeah, we're adults now. Our time is very valuable, and our attention is even more so. And now with game prices going up, dude, we really are very picky now with what we play. So what we play better be freaking good, because if not, we'll drop it and not even think about it too much. Not even give it a second thought.
No, especially now with $80 games.
Yeah, bro.
I was really like, what the fuck are we doing with $70 games? But $80, Nintendo breaking the seal on that, and then Microsoft following suit soon after.
Which, again, I know we discussed it, but who the fuck do they think they are? They have no leg to stand on to be charging that much for games. That's unacceptable.
In an Outer Worlds game, no less.
A game
meant to satirize capitalism.
Oh, you can't write better irony than that.
No, you cannot.
No, you really can't, dude.
You can't. It's interesting how like we now have two back-to-back stories about people or companies rather that are like, we just gotta throw money at the problem, just throw money, just grow, right? And we're having two case studies here about like why Sven is right, why the answer is to grow slowly. It's not to throw money at the problem so that way you can make a buttload of more money in your quarterlies.
No, that's not it. That's not it at all. I mean, it's great when you're Microsoft and you have that kind of money to blow, but that's one. Excuse me. That's one company. Nobody else, I think, has that kind of capital to just fling. It's sad. It really is sad. That's why I hope that Larian stays true, which I think they will. They're the new BioWare. I'm very excited for their next game, and I hope they take their sweet ass time. Because hopefully I'll be done with graduate school by the time that game comes out, and I can actually enjoy it.
I wouldn't put your hopes up, but yeah. Yeah. Interesting tidbit here. Data-based
Yes.
report by prominent games marketing newsletter GamesDiscover.co came to prescient realization. Genres like arena shooter, battle royale, and hero shooter look amazing from a menu perspective, but there's only 29 games in all of Steam's history that have grossed $1 million in those subgenres. Only Naraka,
Oh,
Blade Point, Overwatch 2, and Marvel Rivals have grossed over $25 million since 2020 in those subgenres.
wow. So
So EA is
not
trying to
only
get into the battle royale, the battle royale game. Like there's gonna be some stiff competition, right? You're competing against Marvel Rivals, which is doing great. It continues to do great. Overwatch has kind of gotten a resurgence, and has always had like a bit of a loyal fan base. Like, we kind of stuck through it, all the bullshit, myself included, ourselves included.
yes, indeed.
And then what was the other? Oh, and Naraka. Naraka like kind of, it came out of the woodworks and just came out of the blue rather, and skyrocketed to popularity. But that's because it offers something super unique in that it's pretty much like it's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon battle royale. But then if I look at Battlefield and I can look at it from like 10 feet away, I'm gonna be like, that's Warzone, right? And then I look at, oh no, it's Battlefield. Okay, well, I mean, I already play a modern day shooting battle royale game. Why would I want to play another one? I mean, I guess their thing could be the destruction, but is that good enough to sustain a battle royale game that'll have 100 million players? I don't know.
Yeah, dude. No, it makes no sense. They're chasing numbers really, because honestly they chase numbers. They chase trends. They chase the
unicorn.
The unicorn, exactly. So they're like, oh my god, like we could make $1 bajillion. It's like, well, I mean, the numbers support the opposite, and the few that do make obscene amounts of cash, well, I mean, that's only three, because it goes back to the attention economy. I mean, I did it now, but realistically, I cannot buy 2 battle passes for 2 different games and successfully complete them both without having consumed my entire life. So, no, a lot of these people, they pick one and they just stick with that one, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's the
more they invest into it, the harder it's going to be to get them away from it because of sunk cost fallacy. Because it's going to be really hard to get me away from Marvel Rivals and Overwatch too. Because I got a lot of shit from Overwatch in particular. Marvel Rivals not so much because it's a relatively new game, but I still plan on investing in the game. I bought the battle pass.
Same.
Yeah, I bought the battle pass. I'm trying to get that Emma skin. That's all the way down there. And then they're doing event skins. They're releasing their Summerfest Goomer skins. So of course I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna get Daddy Thing and his fucking speedos, and his I don't know what that flower necklace thing, that Hawaii necklace.
The lei.
The lei, right? You can get the lei, right? I'm gonna get that, and then Luna Snow and her. I don't remember what it was, but whatever, right? They got my money, okay, and my dick, all right. So I mean.
And that's it. That's all I want to play.
And that's what I want to play. And then the more I get stuff like that, the more I'm just gonna want to stick to it.
Exactly, which is what happened with us with Overwatch. So,
and it's the same thing with Overwatch. Right? I've been playing Overwatch since 2017. All right, I've been playing that game for almost 10 fucking years at this point.
Crazy to think it's been that long.
Yeah, the game is turning 10 next year. So who knows what they're gonna do for the anniversary?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, they're even going to do something for the 10th anniversary?
Oh, we don't know. It's still a while away. Because the anniversary will be next May. So who knows what they'll do?
Oh, okay. I hope they do something.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll do something cool. They said they want to do something crazy for every single year. Like they want to do something big shake up to the game, which is why they did Stadium this year. And they're like, next year we're going to do something really cool. And then Aaron Keller was like, we should really bring back cinematics. And we're like, yeah, you really should bring back cinematics.
Yeah, duh. Come on, bro.
Hey, how about that for that 10-year anniversary? Finally get that fucking Netflix series we should have gotten.
Bro, we were robbed.
We were so robbed.
It was so upsetting. But whatever. That's neither here nor there.
All right. So, any other thoughts on Battlefield and Project Glacier?
No. EA, please just stop. Stop that. You're not going to listen to us, but just stop it. Just make Battlefield as it always has been. You have a fan base that likes Battlefield as it is, so just keep it that way. Don't chase trends unless you have something unique. But I really doubt that you're that creative. So just don't do it.
All right. So then, with all that being said, how about you sign us off?
Absolutely, my friend. Well, anyway, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Two Bar Connection. We really appreciate you guys giving us a watch. Please subscribe to the channel if you want updates. Leave a like down below if you enjoyed the video, and also leave a comment if there's any games that you want us to play or if there's any stories that you would like us to cover. We are available on YouTube. That's the best way to watch us. But we do have audio only versions of the podcast, which we have on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Spotify. And we also are on social media. We are on Twitter. No, we will not call it X. And we are at the Twitter handle at 2Bar Podcast. So thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, thanks guys once again for listening. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Peace.
Bye, everybody.